that good? Is that good, Patty? Did we do it? All right, one and done, baby. I'm sure it looks good for yourself. All right, gang. My dear friends at home, I'd like to introduce you. The Sundials would proudly like to introduce you to my friend here, Eugene the City, a real deal folk singer. How you doing, Eugene?
I'm very good, thanks, Dita. Thanks for having me on.
No sweat, no sweat. Yeah, so I guess for a little bit of an introduction, a few weeks ago now, Mr. Eugene over here had a debut single launch for his released song, Coming Up for Air. Yeah, I was listening to it in the car. I always forget the name of it. But Coming Up for Air, and it came out a few weeks ago, and basically like a few weeks before that, I was just on social media, and I saw him being promoted, and I was like, who's this guy? Where did this guy come from? How did he get so good at guitar? Why does he look so professional? What's his deal? And so I knew we had to do an episode to have a chat with him. So
thank you.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Would you like to introduce kind of how did you come into music? What would you consider your music like? And yes.
Yeah. Maybe long story short. Yes. My mum is a music teacher. I was brought up on, I started playing piano when I was 3 years old, just, pressing one note at a time. So I was very, very lucky, very fortunate to be brought up on music, and was given a guitar when I was 5 years old. Even before I could play, I was just jump around the house. We had this bay window, and I used to play air guitar solos and jump off it. And started taking guitar lessons as soon as I could. So I've been playing for about, 15 years or something. Cool. Grew up, kept studying classical guitar until the end of school, partly because I felt bad, my parents both being into classical music, I felt bad not continuing down that path. But I think it was after that point that I kind of wanted to really have a proper go at playing the music that I really wanted to play. And I guess started playing folk guitar, listening to artists like Jose Gonzalez and Ben Howard and Tallest Man on Earth. I guess they're probably the most formative influences in terms of my folk guitar playing. And in the years since then, I guess I've just been slowly chipping away at the writing process, and finally reaching a point where I like what I'm producing, and I'm happy to be kind of sharing it with people.
Yeah, that's cool. Yes, I guess that's interesting, man, because this for me it was the other side of that, where I like the idea of playing guitar, and I feel like I always could have been a musician or something like that, but I just hadn't found it yet. And then eventually, I think I held Nirvana, so I had an electric guitar, but it was a kind of a janky, cheap.
That was the stuff I was listening to when I was
dude, I think
a little kid. Yeah,
that fucking Live and Unplugged Nirvana album, I really think that was very special to me, but I didn't really realize it at first, because I love the obviously crunchy electric music, and that's, I guess this is the Sundials podcast, we do rock and roll music, but I think that Nirvana Live and Unplugged, I really like that. And then eventually I kind of found some I don't know what they I guess we're outside of art, or outside of musician, cheapo, acoustic music kind of guys, that Daniel Johnson guy. Have you ever heard of him? Or Daniel Johnson?
No, I haven't.
He's just this dude, I guess in the late 80s and early 90s, he would, funny enough, he would record on something like this, one of these. This is our Sundials software here. He kind of record on something like that, and I don't know how, but his tapes, just him and a guitar or him and a funny little keyboard, his tapes got out there kind of bigger and bigger, and then he kind of became a real cult musician. Yeah, Daniel Johnson. And it's not super skilled, but it's very passionate, and I really think that always spoke to me a lot, was someone who's really passionate as a musician. And I think eventually, funnily enough, funny story, the first song I ever wrote, this is kind of embarrassing, but I must have only been I must have been say 17 or something like that. I didn't really have much music or musical experience, but this one time I got really horny when I was a virgin still. And I was at this girl's house.
This is not where I thought that was
this is
going.
where this is going,
Yeah,
dude.
right.
And I got home and I was just like, what the fuck was that? And so I just wrote a song. So I could do like I just had to get that shit out of me. So I just wrote the song really quickly, and then I had a song, and I was like, nice. And then I thought that shit was funny as, and so then I just started writing more songs, and I guess emotionally they obviously became more deep or depthful rather than just like help I'm horny, you know. But that's really the first song I ever wrote, and then eventually like I guess like slowly but surely, like I think I went on like a tour with a musician I met once at an open mic night in Melbourne, which is funny. That was like my first ever gigs I did, and then I started banding stuff in Adelaide and doing some solo stuff, and but that's really like my musical history. But yeah, so do you weren't in any bands at all, were you?
I guess when I started, maybe not. So I'm in a few at the moment. I play in a dream pop band called Duck Lake.
Cool.
That's like, I guess my main band. So like do some of the writing from that. That's kind of my outlet of like chill, happy, songs to make coffee to kind of music. And then my partner Effie's band as well, play bass in that, and also my friend Elizabeth Rui, I play guitar for. Oh, cool. But wow, I guess that's all happened in the last like year or a year and a half.
Very cool. I didn't know about that. That's awesome though. I guess in that case, I guess if with Duck Lake you write music too. Yeah, do you see yourself having like different, what do they call that, like creative or emotional like outputs per project or something like that?
Yeah, for sure. I think it kind of started off as like all the demos like on my phone that were kind of in that kind of mood or that kind of feeling, and I started writing lyrics that were kind of in different moods or different emotions. And then when the band started, I felt like, all right, Eugene the City can just be all my kind of sad, like depressing, or songs about depression and like introspective kind of stuff. Music, and the lighter, less serious stuff can go to Duck Lake.
That's mad. I think with the Sundials, like I guess our debut single called I'm Down was kind of a joke about that. Like the song opens with like, sometimes I write songs when I'm sad, but the song's about being horny, and so it's like a big rock song and all that stuff, and it's because I do write for like folk music, and I love folk music, and I guess I am interested in. I will be recording some folk stuff soon, which I'm really keen on.
Oh, sick.
I think like for me, it really definitely is like I have, if I'm working on something and it is not even like too sincere, but like too like a depthful emotions where it really does have like a multi layers or something to it. I tend to want to leave those for like the solo stuff that can be more like emotionally explorative or whatever. And then the Sundials really is like, how can we do like a dance song? How can we make people dance? What if we did this, and then just kind of like coming up with lyrics to fit those things and stuff like that. And I really do enjoy that. I think also with like the folk stuff, I'm obviously like playing like fingerpick guitar and doing that kind of thing. But with the band stuff, I don't have to. I just sing and play harmonica, and I can just get blasted. That's the best part about being just a lead singer, is you really can just party.
Oh, for sure.
It's mad.
For sure.
I recommend it.
Yeah.
Eugene the City 2, dude. Next LP, you got to go like just hard rock for some reason. And just be a lead singer.
Give it a few albums.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. No, it is very hard to make people dance when you're playing. It's just your voice and guitar.
Absolutely.
And it's also hard to make people listen, like really pay attention to your words when there's like so much else going on, like in a bad setting. So like that's like,
no, 1,000%. Dude, actually, speaking of that, like I guess recently with solo stuff, I've been playing like, here and there, like a market gig or like busking in and stuff like that, or playing in the background of, I don't know, a shop or whatever. And I find that like that makes me sad, because if you do have your own like beautiful music, people will just walk by and like give you the time of day. But if you're playing like, I don't know, like Sweet Caroline, people are like, oh, and they start like clapping to it, and it's like, oh, this is it's fucking soulless. But recently I had a solo gig with this guy called Ash Grunwald. He was playing in Victor. He's like a relatively big like blues. Like he sits on a drum kit and he plays his guitar, and it sounds great, But and I kind of got the what do they call that? What's that word? I lucked out and I got this spot, and it was a great show. And you play your original stuff, and everyone kind of just sits there, and like you can hear a pin drop, and that feeling of like, damn, there's an audience for this, and people do like this kind of stuff. You just kind of have to, there's like no one at home, dear listener, anyone who's interested in doing music, never get dissuaded if you play a show to like the wrong crowd, because that can happen, you know. And I think when you play to the right crowd, like I think your show was great, that single launch. Like watching Katie play was just like, damn. Like Katie Palmer is wild because she's so raw and you feel like crying when you watch it.
Oh, for sure.
But I was like sitting there and I was like, damn, I'm crying in the club, dude. Like, but yeah, no, like, that shit was great, and your set was great, and the whole thing was just so beautiful, and I think the audience was there for it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's interesting with like, solo music or like singer-songwriter music is it, sometimes you just get put in the corner of a pub or a bar because that's like, they want live music, but they don't, like the venue isn't big enough for a band, and it's like, you know, as we were saying, it's not really what it's about or what you're kind of able to do with that kind of format of.
They want like a live music jukebox person, basically, you know. Yeah, and I hate that.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
It's hard.
Yeah, my thing is that I don't know. Ideally, my like long term for like the solo stuff is I'd like to just not have to do those and not need to do those. Like be able to like book a dope show, on your name alone and have people be there for it and all that stuff. Side note, I think we can cut this little clip, Patty, or the audience at home or whatever, or leave it in. But I'm sure No Head are outside right now, like playing a kazoo or doing fart noises.
Yeah.
Should I tell them to be quiet? Because I can just dip off for like 10 seconds and come back and we just cut this bit out.
Oh, I can't hear it.
Oh, well, it all works out. If we're not getting annoyed by it, we're not going to crack a laugh because they're making fart noises, we can keep rolling. Hell yes. Yeah, that's the secret with this podcast is we can make ourselves look hell like charismatic by just cutting out chunks. Yeah, so I think that's probably an interesting thing I'd like to talk about, because I guess that's what I'll be working towards too in a way. I've put out my own solo stuff before, but never really properly, never professionally. I think with the Sundials, I have been trying to manage properly, and it's much more easier with a band, I think. But how did you go about, like, what was when you were like, all right, I'm gonna put these songs out, I'm gonna put this song out? What was like the start to the finish? How did it go for you? How did you get the thing arranged? How did you find your people? How did you find the space?
Start to the finish. Yeah, it's interesting because I guess I finished like coming up for air, and like I wanted to release it because I was like, this just works as like vocals and guitar. Like it doesn't need anything else.
Yeah.
And after a while, I went to Interim Studios and like Matt Schultz, like went there for a day, recorded the song with him, and he kind of was pushing me, or like had a lot of ideas of kind of stuff to add into it. And I said, all right, no, I'll go home and see what I can come up with. And that's kind of, I know I added the other production stuff in, and send it back to him, and he was like, yeah, this works. Like we can just keep it as is. So that's, it was interesting how it kind of changed in that process. But I guess it really came about just wanting to do something that was kind of easy and like, kind of stripped back a bit. Yeah.
Who did, because there's cello and stuff like that in the track. How did you go about getting that stuff?
Spitfire Labs.
Like, so it wasn't even real?
Nah.
Guys, I can't believe it.
I mean, it was real at some stage. Like, it's all sampled, like, from, some kind of crazy studio in London or whatever. But,
I was thinking about that. I was like, who you got to play cello for?
Yeah.
That's mad, man. If you didn't, you just played the synth keys.
Yeah, just, like, programmed it in.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, it sounds great. I assumed it was just real.
Yeah.
But, dude. So you got the song done. You recorded it.
Yeah.
You were like, all right, I'm going to do this. When did you get those nice photos done? And you got the photo with your face in the water and everything? That looks so good.
Oh, yeah. I was really happy with how that turned out. I was like, one of my mates, like one of my best mates actually from like way back in high school, his name's Reese, his media company's called Attaboy Media. He's over in Vancouver now though.
Oh,
so
far out, man.
Yeah.
Wild.
Anyway, like, he is just like happy enough to help me out with those. And like, I just had the idea of like, I think I just Google image search like face submerged in water. And I was like, this could work. So just, it was just shot in the bathtub at my house. Just had a sheet kind of draped behind it just to make everything dark. And then it's easy to do whatever you need in post. But it worked out really well. I'm super stoked with how his shots turned out. Yeah.
Yeah, I think just quickly for everybody at home, my dear listeners, I think one thing that before I was, I guess, doing music and making stuff and stuff like that, I always saw people like that seemed to be doing incredible stuff. And I was like, damn, if only I had like a budget of like, I don't know, $1 million and then I could do this and do that. But like now that we're doing stuff, I think it's so cool to hear and be able to do it too. But like to hear people truly bowling on a budget to make some incredible shit, but to do it like, to like dime store it where you're in a bathtub. Yeah. I thought that was a beach, man. I thought that was like
Thank you.
Cool,
Thank you. Yeah. No, I feel like you kind of have to these days. There's like, you know, I think we're very lucky to have the access that we do to recording music. That I think being able to record music is getting more and more accessible, but there's still the expectation with anything you release that has to be professional, even though like everyone's still like working day jobs. But the stuff that you have to put out, like whether you spend a lot of money on it or not, like it's kind of has to
the best you can do.
Yeah,
on.
You're almost like pretending like you're doing it full time, even though like that's not the reality. That's how I feel about it.
I think that's totally true.
Yeah.
All right, so you've got the song finished.
Yeah.
And you got the photos done.
Yeah.
What then next? Like, how did you go about booking the space, the artists that you wanted to have on with you and stuff like that? How did that all go?
I guess I met Katie and Shree through Katie's, I was going to call it a choir project, like a community choir called with One Voice.
Yeah.
And I just met them both through there, started following their music, was blown away, of course. And I just asked them, like they're the first people I asked to play and they said yes. And it was just really, really beautiful to have them join me on that. On the launch. Yeah, it was really cool. Amazing to be able to play at the Jade as well. It's pretty, I think a lot of good venues have not much availability at the moment. I was pretty stoked to be able to get a night there as well. And it was,
The Jade is a funny one. And I guess truly I do think that is like the venue for any like acoustic based stuff. Like to do something like, you don't want to do like a huge band show and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It really is. It's great for the smaller sort of DIY-ish type of events, I guess.
Yeah, I think it's also like interesting thinking about like how just the setting in the venue, how much of a difference it makes to the atmosphere and how much people listen, like especially in like quieter gigs. Because just the lighting and the amount of background noise, like if there's a bar nearby or a pool table,
or a
that can just kind of have this cascading effect and like, you know, people like creating more background noise, which I guess as you know, solo artists,
you want to be able to hear that.
We want to try and avoid.
Yeah, that was very cool. I guess like I think with you in particular, what I did want to discuss was the like, because again like I hadn't heard of you as a musician before your show, and then I discovered you, and I think I guess again not only with my solo stuff but with like the band too, and other bands that I've seen. When you first discover an artist and you kind of like, hey, well, who is this person? What is this person? What do they do? And then like I don't know, like just that process of like, I like this person, this artist, I like their music, like where'd they come from? What's the go with this? And I think like, because obviously I love like with the band that we've got, the Sundials, it's very much like a kind of a rock, vintage rock kind of inspiration things. It's all like 70s bands, and those bands already have like a legend attached to them, like Led Zeppelin and the Rolling Stones and all that. But then when you like find a musician or a band that's contemporary that you like, it's kind of like, damn, where do these people even come from? Like just seeing bands I like in like Facebook like promoted posts and being like, oh, these guys are cool and they're currently playing in like Sydney. That's mad. Like I didn't like you to discover something. I think I really like that. And so I think, what am I trying to say here? I like the process of figuring out how to do that properly, figuring out how you do that properly, how one should do that properly, and all that stuff. So
yes. I think it's like that kind of thing or that kind of effect is probably going to become more common. Like again, with like how much more accessible it is to like creating music or just like creating content in general. So you can have people that are, you know, working on like writing music, recording music, recording videos and stuff in their bedroom, and maybe it's a case of, it's not quite good enough for them, and then it finally reaches a point where they want to share it, and suddenly they have, all this content that they're able to release, and kind of just do it all themselves.
It's another question for you is, I suppose I guess the guitars were tracked and then you tracked the other stuff. Do you have an understanding on how to, I guess, do I don't know what the term is, but musical back of house, like to produce your own stuff?
Kinda. I can produce demos. I can't, I'd say that's the stage I'm at. I can produce my own demos, but I don't think I'm good enough to produce something that's ready to release. But I know my way around my DAW, my software, basically. So
I had a dream where I got how good at doing a live DAW show, where you have the computer and play keys and guitar, and I was it was like a POV where I was doing it on stage and doing it on the computer, and I was like, yeah, this is mad. I'm actually not good at this. Then I woke up and I was like, damn. But I got a 2011 MacBook Air as my computer, so
maybe not.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I think with me in music, is I do like the idea of just exploring every nook and cranny that I can get into, and I think whether that's acoustic guitar stuff, and Delta blues and harmonica playing and all that stuff, or it's the Sundials rock band stuff, or even the silly DAW stuff, which I have no idea about but dreamed about. I like that kind of stuff. Yeah. So anyway.
Yeah.
What is next for you? I guess you were just saying that you're now in a couple of different projects.
Yeah.
So what's going on with that, and what's going on with you now? Do you have anything exciting on the horizon for the next half the year, say?
Yeah. Got a Duck Lake gig. Which camera do I look at?
Yes.
June 23rd.
June 23rd.
At the Grace with Nuclear Family and Eli and the Truth.
Nice.
That's going to be cool. And we're hoping to release our first single in the coming months. Got our bassist who releases music under the name Jacuzzi Onsen.
Cool. Jacuzzi.
He's recording and mixing everything as well. So it's going to be self-produced. So that's happening for Eugene, the city. Hoping to, there was another track that I recorded with Matt that day. So when I get time, I'm going to kick that off again and hopefully get that out. I don't know. I don't want to give myself a deadline and turn this into work, but I mean, it kind of is to a certain extent.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm very keen to get that out there and play another show and play more shows with people if you want me to support you on my show, on your show.
Get around it, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, right on. Yeah, sweet.
Yeah, so that's, I'm just really loving being a musician now. It's something I've felt like I've always been someone who's just played music, played guitar in their bedroom, and I love playing music, but it's I feel like I'm finally doing it now, and things are happening, and it's all with people that I really, really, love as people and as musicians as well. So
I think that's something that's very special about Adelaide, is that it really is a small community, and there really is if you know someone that's doing music in Adelaide, chances are that either the person you're talking to will know them or will know somebody that knows them.
Yeah.
It's very tight knit, and I think it's cool. As soon as you start doing stuff, you'll find that you almost just automatically kind of join a broader community of other people doing things, and it all patchworks together.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think. Do you have any closing comments?
Closing comments. Yeah, no, not really. No, it's nothing comes to mind. It's been great chatting to you.
Yeah, well, it was great chatting to you as well. Well, we have a special surprise to end this episode on, my dear listeners. We, the Sundials, love folk music, and we happen to just have a bunch of microphones and lights and all that stuff here. My friend Eugene has brought his guitar in, so we're going to close this episode out with a song of his. What song are you going to play?
I am going to play... I think I'm going to call it Two Wildflowers. That's the working title. It's a song I guess my newest song. I finished it most recently, and
very cool.
I played it at my launch show, and I left my tuner on. So for half of the song, it was just vocals. Yeah. So maybe for anyone who was there and wants to hear what it actually sounds like, well, that's what I'm going to play.
It's like a half debut of this song. Then.
Yeah.
So there you go. Check it out. Get ready. All right, let's go.
We were just two outlaws trying to find our way in the world. Oh, and come what may, we are bold and colourful. Up from the dirt, we are bright and strong. We sway as the butterflies dance around us. We sway as the Beatles was below. We were just wildflowers waving on the hillside. We were just wildflowers dancing in the evening lights. Toast to the wind, to naked stems standing still. And there will be another springtime soon. And again you'll dance anew. We grew together in the springtime of our lives. We bloomed together in the summer storm at last. We were just wildflowers waving on the hillside. We were just wildflowers dancing in the evening lights. Thank you. Thanks. Cheers. Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.